Sixers Heat, Game 6 last night. You know the storyline. Sixers needed a win to stay alive. Joel Embiid, battling through injury, still showed up. 20 points, 12 boards for Embiid. Unlike James Harden, not battling through injuries, and once again, not showing up. Just a brutal night from the Beard yet again. 11 points. Not in a quarter. 11 points for the whole game. And all in the first half. James Harden only taking 2 shots after the break. 2. Heat win. Sixers going home. They're eliminated. Here was James Harden after the game.
We ran our offense. The ball, I feel like the ball moved and, it just didn't get back to me.
How much more aggressive?
Like I just said, we ran our offense. The ball, just didn't get back to me.
Obviously, I'm sure, since we got him, everybody expected the Houston James Harden, but that's not who he is anymore. He's more of a playmaker. I thought, at times, could have been, as all of us, could have been more aggressive.
Oh, let the dramatic offseason begin. Broussard, how much blame should Harden take for the Sixers' early exit?
Most of it. If you do it, giving out a blame pie, Harden is more to blame than anyone on the team or the coaching staff. Joel Embiid wasn't great, but he was playing through a lot of injuries, and that's not an excuse. It's just somewhat of an explanation, all right? Doc Rivers wasn't great, right, but Doc can't play, all right? Doc can't get out there on the court and do what he used to do as a player. So this is on James Harden. I'm not blaming 21-year-old Tyrese Maxey, who's in his second year and his first year approaching stardom, for this. It's on James Harden. You said it, Jenny, 11 points, 2 shots in the second half. The reason that he's there, the guy he replaced is gone, Ben Simmons, because he wouldn't shoot in the second half.
Because he wouldn't shoot.
Or certainly not the fourth quarter. And then you come in as one of the all-time great scorers, and you won't shoot in the second half or the fourth quarter. And to hear a legitimately great player, an all-time great future Hall of Famer, sit there and say, the ball never found me. You bring the ball up. You got the ball in your hands. It finds you on every possession. And the only excuse that could, take some of this blame off of Harden is if he is just washed. Like, you can't blame a guy if they just are washed. And if he comes back next year and he's a 16-point scorer and just can't be anything remotely resembling what he used to be, then you know what? We'll just say, he got old quickly. The hamstring, whatever it was, he just never was the same player. And that would be the only explanation. And Nick, the last 2 games of this series, the great James Harden was outplayed by 2 guys named Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, the 2 undrafted starting guards for the Miami Heat. And what makes this worse is that for the last several years, really the bulk of his career, Harden, whether if not verbally, then certainly through his actions, has always blamed someone else for why he can't get to the promised land. In Houston, it was Dwight Howard. Then it was Chris Paul. Then it was Russell Westbrook. In Brooklyn, it was Kyrie Irving. And he quit on Kevin Durant, because of Kyrie. And now you go to Philly, and you've got another great player in the league, like you had in Durant, and you are the one. You are the reason that your team is going out early. You're the main reason. So he's got to wear most of this, Nick.
This is baffling. Well, I thought, Wilds, I was mean to you in the first segment. I mean, justifiably, rightfully, I probably should have been meaner. However, you do have some good points. And your tweet after the game about Harden running the stairs, and that Harden showed more effort running the stairs a week into his Philly tenure than he showed in an elimination game, was exactly right. And I also want to give credit to Tim Legler, who does great video breakdowns with SVP quite often after these games, and just showed the lack of effort. Brew, you mentioned he was outplayed by Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. He was outscored last night by another former Houston Rocket, P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker's not there for his baskets. P.J. Tucker's there for his defense, toughness, and culture. P.J. finished 6 for 9 with 12 points. Harden finished 4 for 9 with 11 points. But here's why the he just got old thing is so, I don't know, hard to believe. Wilds, he's 32 years old. Here are the 5 best players from his draft class. Steph Curry, he looked washed to you. DeMar DeRozan just came off best year of his career. Drew Holiday just maybe had the best moment of his career. James Harden, and this isn't in order, and then Blake Griffin. Now, Blake Griffin clearly is washed, but Blake Griffin has suffered multiple catastrophic injuries, and we're like, okay, we get it. I mean, Blake Griffin suffered a major injury before he played a single NBA game. But he's 32. He's not supposed to be washed. He's not supposed to be done. And I know Brew's done a really good job showing us that great players of previous eras who played this number of games were already done. But athletes age differently now, Wilds. The science is better. The medicine's better. They're traveling private. Theoretically, the nutrition should be better. I'm not sure that applies to Harden. And for him to just not go down shooting, literally or figuratively, is disheartening. For like the approach in this game was like they were down 3-0. You know what I mean? Like, okay, whatever. We have to play because we're here, but we have no shot. They should have gone into this game, Wilds, feeling like we're going to win. We're at home. We have the best player in the series in Embiid, even if he's compromised. And then let's see what the hell happens in a Game 7 on the road. Instead, the approach was the moment there was any resistance. I mean, he was speed walking out there. It was bad. It's really, 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 really bad.
So I reject the idea that James Harden is washed because we've all played basketball with guys who are washed. In fact, you're looking at a guy who's washed. And guess what you do when you're washed? You got to try harder. You don't just pout.
Really
you don't say,
hard.
well, I'm washed. I'm not going to take any shots. No, you're washed, so you have to do everything else. That's the whole point. And I know the dressed up way to say this is that James Harden has a chronic accountability problem. That is, it's like, wow, he could look in the mirror and say, you know what? I have an accountability problem. Here's the not dressed up way how to say it. James Harden just pouted on his 3rd consecutive team. He pouted and refused to play with John Wall and DeMarcus in Houston, pouted his way out, stopped playing, didn't put any effort in. He said, I want out. Then against the Kings, when he was with the Nets, he just pouted. It's on tape. He's pouting and not getting the ball. He's not happy. He's not shooting. And then last night, in an elimination game, James Harden pouted. There's no reason not to score any points in the second half.
Can I ask you a question?
Go.
You think he pouted?
Wilds, can I ask you about
washed?
that?
Yes.
Because no. It's a serious question because I want you to continue. We knew why he pouted in Houston. Thought they couldn't contend, wanted to leave. We knew why he pouted in Brooklyn. He was the Kyrie stuff had gotten to him. He didn't want to be there anymore. Why would he be doing it here? Like, what's the? I understood, even if I didn't justify it, Wild.
Totally get it.
But why would he do it?
So if we have the sound, Hubs, when he was asked about, hey, what's the deal? Why didn't you get in rhythm? We played a little bit of the clip, but he also said, hey, I didn't get the ball. Like, well, are the plays being called for you? And he said no comment. So is he pouting because he wants Doc gone and D'Antoni? I don't know. But I do not think that he is washed. That all of a sudden a former MVP and a former scoring champ can't get shots up, Broussard? You can't get more than 2 and this has been the whole series in the second half. Right. So I do not believe it's a hamstring, and I do not believe that he's washed. I think it's a pouting issue.
Well,
Go ahead, bro.
Wilds, I'll give you, and I was just throwing that out as a possibility. I do think he's not the same player. Washed, meaning he's just totally gone. I won't go that far. But I'm with Nick. I don't know why in the world he would be pouting. And maybe it is just to get Doc Rivers out. I don't know. He did kind of blame the hamstring.
Egregious.
Remember he talked about, all year he talked about, last night he said, I just never was the same. I was starting to get back, couldn't react. The hamstring from hell. I mean, I've never seen a hamstring injury this bad. But I got to say this, and I hate to say it, but honestly, I don't think James Harden cares that much about winning a championship. I think there are people like this in every profession. Sure, he'd love to win one. Yeah. But is he going to, is it what drives him?